Talk about Gigi. It's been 3 months. How are the students doing?
They are doing amazing. I have friends that are at the end of Gigi for the kindergarten year. 99% I think is the highest right now. So they've really taken it and gone with it. And it's a motivator for them. I hear them when they're done with their work in class wanting to go to the computers in our classroom as well to get on Gigi and challenge and conquer the puzzle that they're working on or the level that they're working on. So the fears that I had and the anxiety I had in the beginning are not there anymore. They're independent workers, and you see growth in their mathematical reasoning, which is amazing, and their problem solving as well.
And what's the biggest surprise?
That they actually can do it. They actually, without directions, without someone telling them what to do, they can sit there and they can problem solve and they can persevere and move on to the next level with Gigi.
And how many years have you been teaching kindergarten?
This is my 5th year in kindergarten.
And how is it affecting them and all the other things they have to do?
They're making connections with in other areas as well. For example, yesterday when we were in the computer lab, I had a little girl that she just said, I just can't figure this out. And with a little guiding, some questioning, it was a part whole, and one of the parts was missing. And I said, try, see what happens. And the first time she tried, she put the hole in for the part. And then all of a sudden I hear, oh my gosh, I get it. I just need to count up. So what we were doing in here, maybe with manipulatives, or maybe, with the math curriculum and strategies that we were learning in class, she transferred that, and it was such an aha moment for her. So I see there's a lot of connections being made with the CGI that we're working on, and with the Gigi program too.
And based on 3 months, how do you see them at the end of the year? Are they all going to be at advanced?
I bet a lot of them will be. The majority of them will be. Mm-hmm.
Is that normally where they end up?
No. I even see them working with bigger numbers at this point in the year, which is not typical, which I think is amazing.
So when I come back at the end of the year, you'll expect to have some interesting things to share, I bet.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you could, in like one little soundbite, how would you say Gigi is affecting your kindergarten class?
I think it's affecting the rate of their growth and their mathematical reasoning, and with their problem solving skills, and also with their frustration. I don't hear, I'm not going to do it, or I can't do it anymore. I hear them saying, I'm going to try something different, and I'm going to conquer this, and I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to learn what I need to learn in order to pass that puzzle that they're working on. Whereas before, in the beginning of the year, there was a lot more frustration, and working through that, I see a lot of growth and independence as well.
You guys love working with Gigi? Yeah! In 3 months, give us a sense of how Gigi has changed mathematics in first grade for you.
Gigi, with mathematics in first grade, has changed the kids' thinking strategies. They're able to problem solve more. They're not asking as many questions, and they're trying harder to figure out different solutions to problems. When they do ask a question, it's fun to try to guide them in different ways, and then all of a sudden they're able to solve the problem, and their face just sparkles when they're able to solve it on their own.
And how's it changing your role as the teacher?
It's enhancing their learning by problem solving and not as much skill based, where they're learning the skill within the problem solving strategies.
And what about you? How's it making you feel that this is happening?
It's a successful way of teaching. It enhances our teaching with teaching skills along with the problem solving that they're able to create on their own through the program that allows them to build that confidence and problem solving.
And if they took Gigi away, how would you feel?
I would be sad because the kids love seeing Gigi cross the path and make it across the road. They love the learning. They're insightful. It creates a whole nother level of learning in the classroom.
What about you as the teacher?
Me as the teacher, it enhances learning, so I would be sad if they took it away, only because it does enhance their problem-solving skills.
What's it like to use Gigi for 3 months?
Gigi has been incredible for the kids. They are so excited every day to not only when we get to go to the lab to work on it, but every day they want to go on it during our classroom. They're working on it at home. It's really been incredible.
And how's it changed your ability to teach math?
It's changed my ability to teach math because I'm looking more now at talking with them about thinking about their math learning. It's not just the rote memorization that it's always been. They're really having to think and problem solve. And the best thing is when they'll be doing a Gigi game and they'll say to me, "Oh, I don't know how to do this game. What do I do?" And I look at them and say, "Well, I've never played it either." So you just have to start looking at what it is that Gigi's doing and solving the problem and figuring it out. So it's really increased their thinking skills, which has been great.
And then what's the biggest surprise you've had?
The biggest surprise I've had is how capable my students have become at being able to solve different math problems and really talking about and thinking about what they're doing, and they're not needing as much support. Like they're just able to really figure so much more out on their own and be great problem solvers.
And how's that changing their ability to learn overall? All the other subjects?
I think that just overall, it's helping them to look at problem solving across the curriculum. They're not just math problem solvers anymore. They're really taking time to figure out how to solve their problems in language arts or science or social studies, and they're really coming up with multiple solutions to problems rather than just the normal solution that we used to get to a problem.
And I think that's going to help with Common Core.
I think it's going to greatly help with Common Core because I think that it's helping them to be able to go deeper into things rather than just scratch the surface.
So it's January. How far do you see them getting compared to how far they would have gotten, say, last year without Gigi?
Oh, I think that they are leaps and bounds beyond where they are from last year. And it's just even when talking to them about their thinking and their problem solving, the creative answers that they're coming up with are so outside of the box from where they used to be that what I used to expect to get as an answer is no longer what I'm getting. And I'm getting 6, 7, 8 kids coming up with different ways to solve things. And I think that really has changed and will continue to change how they view math in every subject.
So let's just sort of imagine it's next September, you get a new crop of kids.
Uh-huh.
How do you see yourself approaching them differently after you've had a whole year of Gigi?
After having a whole year of Gigi, I just think even just a half a year right now, it just changes your focus and how you're looking at things. And I'm not just scratching the surface anymore. We're really doing so much more discussion and going so much deeper into everything we're doing that I think it's just going to take our learning to such a different level.
How has it changed you as a teacher in the last 3 months that the kids are getting to use Gigi?
One thing that I love is that before I actually teach a concept whole group, I can introduce it using Gigi. And that way those that get it quickly can move on. They can build on that knowledge. Those that need a little more practice get that time to practice, get that repetition. And then when we introduce it in the whole group, they're ready. They understand what we're talking about, and they're ready. Becomes more practical. How would you use it? Where would you use it? How does it work? A little bit of kind of refining vocabulary.
All right, and then, so this is 3rd grade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 3 months. How are you getting farther? Give us like a description about how you've improved and they've improved since Gigi's been added in.
Big things I've noticed are in perseverance and confidence. When they approach something, they know they can do it, even though it's hard because they've done it before. They've seen it. They've worked through it. As far as pacing, it's a little different pacing than we usually use, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Do you think they're going to get farther along?
Yes, I do. We've already done fractions, right? Yeah. We've already done fractions with Gigi. We have not come to that part in our classroom study. How many of you feel like you already have a pretty good basic understanding of fractions? before we're even there. So I don't know that we'll actually get farther and cover more, but I think that there will be a lot more understanding, a lot more depth of understanding what it actually means.
And if we were to flash forward to next year, how are you going to be viewing your third graders and changing your approach now that you've had Gigi for like a whole year?
For like a whole year. I think that same sort of idea of building that base in Gigi and then working with it, whole group, in sort of that practical, real world, how it works.
And what's the biggest surprise you've had?
How much fun they've had, but also how challenging it has been. It's been really challenging.
You guys love Gigi?
Yes!
Does anybody hate Gigi?
No!
No? You've had Gigi for 3 months.
Yes.
How are the kids doing?
Great. They are being exposed to higher level concepts before we even reach them in the book. So when I say how many people have done long division, I see a whole bunch of hands come up before we even taught the concept. So it's really nice, the background knowledge that it's giving the students.
And how's it making your job easier?
Because they have exposure and I could pull it up on the smart board. We could do a couple lessons together. It's kind of like a video game, like the kids say. So it's really easy for when we get to the textbook, they have that background knowledge.
And how are you getting farther, deeper? What's the difference as far as their level of math?
Deeper understanding of what they're actually doing, not just numbers and writing down the answer. They have a deep and strong understanding of what they're actually doing.
And what's the biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise is that they love it and they still love it after 3 months, and they think it's like a video game and their reading's gone and they can just focus on the math and the concepts.
And how's it helping their critical thinking skills in other content areas?
It's really nice because Gigi actually shows them if they get an answer wrong and why they got it wrong, and it also shows them why they got an answer right. So when they go to all those levels, they can actually see, okay, I did this wrong, and so it's building upon the concepts and the levels.
What about like in other English or social studies and stuff? Do you see that this is spilling over into other areas?
Yeah, with the perseverance concept, I think that when they reach a part where they kind of struggle, they don't just give up. They keep trying and clicking and figuring out a way and using their brain in a different way maybe that didn't work before. And so that carries over into other subject areas.
And next year, how do you see yourself teaching differently?
Using a lot of Gigi to start off lessons and before we get into a chapter in the book.
If they took Gigi away, how would you feel if you had to go back to the way you were doing it before?
So sad. I would be very, very sad because it has the kids really stoked and really excited about math. And so when they see it, how fun it could be, then it carries over into our lessons in the classroom.
I have one student who's already 100% through Gigi for 4th grade.
And we're just 3 months into the year. Yeah. And would that ever have happened with the regular math out of the textbook?
No.
They don't go ahead, right?
Right.
And how's this student changed, do you think?
He got to a level the higher he got to a level that was so challenging. He was working at this high level continuously. And then it was almost like when he finished, what do we do? And then we found out, we put him on kickbox. And what's the other one, Connor? Big seed. So he gets to be challenged still.
So let me ask you, so you're doing a Gigi lesson right now?
Yes.
Okay, so how have you changed as a teacher?
I think the biggest change is letting them struggle. The biggest change is knowing that it's okay that they struggle, and that's how they're learning instead of stepping in right away.
So you don't rescue them?
I don't rescue them. Right.
And what's the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise is just the way they work themselves through it, and I think the teaching without the words is amazing to watch them do that, and how they sometimes with the one that finished, I would stand behind him, and I didn't get it, and so watching him figure it out, he would take paper and write it out and try to figure it out, and just to see the different strategies they're learning just by
the picture and trying to get that penguin across.
Are the kids surprising you with their abilities to do math compared to previous years?
Uh-huh.
Can you explain that a little bit?
They're working at for instance, right now we're starting fractions, but some of them are beyond, and they're working at this higher level than, say, where we would be with the book. So when we get to things in the book, they already have the prior knowledge, so it's not something brand new to them. And I hear all the time, "Oh, we did this in GG. Oh, I did this in GG." So.
They're so smart, they don't even learn anything.
So I'm going to put you on the spot just for a second. So just describe teaching math out of the textbook and how it is now for you. Did you struggle at all? I mean, how was it to teach math out of a textbook?
Well, teaching math out of a textbook, you have their way in the book, which is one way, and then that doesn't always meet the needs of the learning of all of them. So then you try to teach it a different way. That doesn't always meet the needs of all of them. And then GG gives you the visual, the interactive visual. So for instance, fractions, I could hold the pizza up, and show the pieces of it. But on GG, they're actually moving and manipulating the pieces around. And I think that it gets them involved on all levels.
And so are you having more fun?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'm having fun watching them struggle because, it sounds funny.
For me too.
It sounds funny, but once I finally got used to the idea that the struggling was a good thing and they were learning, that it's so much fun to watch them work through it and to hear that, now I get it after they've tried it a few times. And to hear them so excited by a ding is funny. But it's more fun just to watch them be so involved.
And is it changing your relationship with the students just because you see them thriving in a different way than you did before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny, we're like a team. I'm teaching them on this level, they're learning from Gigi on another level, and we're all struggling together and learning together.
You've heard the term blended learning.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that applies here, and how is it applying for you? It's kind of a hard question, but
You mean the blending of
the computer?
Yeah,
and
it's like all modalities. So it's the computer and the technology, and they're learning on that level. And then sometimes I almost feel like I'm reinforcing Gigi instead of, before a lot of times the technology reinforced the teacher teaching. Now it's more, they've already learned Gigi at this level, and now I am reinforcing it on the next level. So in a lot of ways it's flipped.
So what do you think of Gigi after 3 months?
Well, one, it's super exciting to see the kids excited about math. Also, I really like how the kids, even myself, are looking at math in a different way. And especially when we're learning about fractions, really seeing fractions as parts out of a whole, and rather than just numbers. And that part has really enlightened me and taught me how to teach math in a new way.
And how was it teaching math from the book before Gigi?
I said I like teaching math. Math has always been one of my favorite things, but it was kind of more rigid, where I would have a certain structure that I'd follow every single time I taught the same content. So now it's really been, I've been introduced to CGI, so it's allowed me to really let CGI kind of guide my instruction, and letting the kids finding different strategies through GG and GGI. GGI? CGI.
Yeah.
And using those strategies to actually teach their classmates the same thing.
And what's the biggest surprise after 3 months?
Honestly, the biggest surprise is really seeing, I thought doing CGI twice a week for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, that every time we headed over to the computer lab, they were going to be like, we're doing math again. But it is dead silent when they're working. They're working attentively, they're excited, they're totally engaged and paying attention. And never have I had one complaint for a student, honestly, not one complaint about going to do GG. They really, really enjoy it.
And is it pushing you harder as a teacher to take them farther?
Always, always. Yeah, I feel like I always have to be looking at different ways to teach math to kids. Having those different strategies that I can see through Gigi really helps them learn different ways and forces me to look at math in a different way as well.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I look at some of the problems that they're doing, and they'll say, I need help with this one, and I honestly will say, I have no idea. You have to just keep guessing and trying. And I'll kind of stand behind them sometimes. We just had one of those the other day, where I'll stand behind them and watch them, and then I'll go, oh my gosh, now I see that. We did that, Paulina, right? The other day I learned along with her. And it was really exciting to see that, okay, now we need to look at fractions as proportions now instead of parts of a whole.